Hi guys, I'm Miss Jaime OT, and April is Occupational Therapy Awareness Month. So I'm going to be talking tonight about what is a sensory diet. And this is a question that parents and teachers ask me all the time. So a sensory diet, when people hear the word diet, they think of food, but a sensory diet has nothing to do with food at all. It's actually a structured, scheduled list of activities that involve sensory input and give sensory input that a child needs. So much like a diet, you regulate the food that you're taking in, a sensory diet, you regulate the sensory input that you're taking in. So a lot of children need this in order to function appropriately and organize and focus to do what they need to do at home, like getting dressed and getting ready for school and eating dinner and taking a bath. And they need it at school, because they need to unpack and follow the classroom routine and take a test and do whatever they need to do as a student. So children who have significant sensory processing issues or sensory processing dysfunction really benefit from a sensory diet, because their body is misinterpreting sensory information or not interpreting certain sensory information appropriately, and this gives them the input that they need in order to feel okay. So you know how we all have days where we're tired and we're not with it, or days where we're hyper and we're getting tons of things done. We have activities that we do to get ourselves just right so that we can function and go to work and do what we need to do to get through the day. And this is what a sensory diet does for our kids. So it's important. And a sensory diet, just like a regular diet, needs to be consistent throughout a child's life. So if you're a parent who feels like your child might need a sensory diet, keep in mind that it can't just be at school. It has to be all the time. Just like if you were trying to diet and lose weight, if you only did it at work, you wouldn't lose weight, because at home you weren't doing the right thing. So a sensory diet for a child needs to be at school and at home, definitely. So one of the things I love to use to create a sensory diet is a log of the child's behaviors. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this book today, the Sensory Lifestyle Handbook, and this is basically like the guide to creating sensory diets. And if you feel that your child needs a sensory diet, it's a really good idea to make sure that you're in touch with an occupational therapist who can help you kind of devise a really good plan, because it's not something that you can just throw together. And children who have sensory processing issues, their behavior changes and their needs change. So it's not going to be a one-time thing. You're going to need to revise the child's sensory diet again and again. So I love this log right here. It keeps track of the date and time that a child displays a sensory-related behavior. So let's say they have a tantrum in the middle of the supermarket, or maybe while they were getting dressed for school. You're going to document this, and you're going to document everything about it, where it happened, what happened before that, what happened after, and you'll start to see a little pattern. And many parents have said to me, oh, there's no rhyme or reason to my child's sensory outbursts or dysfunctions, but there always is some kind of similarity that you can see what the child actually is needing or what the child is expressing discomfort about. And it's hard for them. They don't realize that they are overreacting or underreacting. If you think of Tigger and Eeyore, Tigger is overreactive. He's always on the go. He's run, bounce, crash off of everything. And your child might remind you of Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. Or your child might remind you of Eeyore. And these children actually really go kind of undetected because they're not as noticeable. And for lack of a better word, children who are like Tigger, they're bumping into you, so you can't help but notice them. But children like Eeyore are quiet, and they might almost seem depressed and lethargic, and those children might need lots of sensory input to actually get their nervous systems to where they need to be just right, so that they can function throughout the day. So that's important to know. There are different kinds of sensory processing dysfunction. Back to the book. When you're looking at why a child misbehaved, you're going to be looking at the setting where the behavior happened, and if you put a sensory strategy in place for that child, you're going to document if the child benefited from it. So I love this log in here that you can keep track of what sensory activities you put in place for your child and what sensory strategies you used and if they worked. And that's an important way of teasing out how a sensory diet is going to work for your child. So it's important to keep track of all those different things. And a sensory diet is going to look different for every single child because each child is unique and their sensory needs are unique. So that's important to keep in mind. I wanted to talk tonight about this book is actually $16. It's on sale. The sale's ending, but if you get it now, it's actually included tons of amazing bonuses, which are, I just can't even believe that all of this stuff is included for free. There's a sensory checklist for school, which is amazing for therapists and also for teachers because it really teases out all the different things that might be happening at school and how they're related to sensory issues. There's also a sensory diet of visual schedules, and I love this. I already laminated mine because I have a student that I wanted to use it with like today. So I laminated mine, I put little Velcro. The bonuses that come free with the book are tons and tons of sensory activity cards. There's cards that are alerting, there's cards that are calming, cards for children who love to move like Tigger, and then there's cards for children like Eeyore who need that kind of invigorating input to get with it. And what you do with the sensory diet and the visual schedule is you set up what your child's going to do and what activities are going to help them throughout the day. So this could just be a morning schedule before you go to school, and that might seem overwhelming for parents, but again, when you wake up on your diet, you eat your yogurt and your fruit, and you stick to your diet, and this is what kids who need a sensory diet need. So maybe you start with breakfast, then you might be doing some dancing, spin like a top, and then you go to school. I also love that this book comes with blank sensory cards so that you can add in the things that are important to you and how they relate to your day. So I definitely want to recommend this resource. I'm really loving it. And it also comes with a free book, A Year of Sensory Play. It's 67 pages of sensory activities and ideas by the month. So summer activities and winter activities in spring. I mean, it's just full of great information. So I hope that this answered your question about what a sensory diet is and how it can help your child. It's a great tool for some children. Not all children are going to react the same way, and that's why it's good to connect with an occupational therapist to help you through this process. So I hope that that helped you, and that you'll stay tuned. For the month of May, I have a sensory day, and I've teamed up with a ton of great companies and got you some sick deals on sensory products. So if there's anything that you've had your eye on that you kind of wanted to try out with your child, hopefully it's on sale this month with Miss Jaime OT. So make sure to sign up for my newsletter and I'll keep you in touch with all of my great sales. Okay, so have a great day.